Yeah, let's do it. You want to start off?
Yeah, start off. So I'm
Cool.
Brandon, and me and Tyler have been friends since middle school. Probably he was one of my first friends I'd met out when my family moved to California, and from there we started playing sports together. We started playing basketball, football, and we've been friends ever since. And so we went to the same middle school, same high school, and actually the same college too, and have been friends throughout. And now that we're both like uh, I'm 26 and we're both in the same class, but now we like are in our own like professional careers and professional lives. I'm out in San Diego now, and Tyler will get to hit where he's at too. But yeah, that's really where we're at, and then we can go over the podcast stuff in a little bit too.
Yeah, man. Yeah, guys. So yeah, I'm Tyler. Probably a lot of friends and family going to be listening to this first episode. But yeah, like Brandon said, we've been good friends since middle school, high school, college. Stayed in touch since, and yeah, I'm out in LA doing LA things. Still in a software developer by trade, and trying to do a ton of stuff this year. I think that's where me and Brandon connected. We keep these phone calls. The reason why we wanted to put this podcast together. So we'd have these phone calls probably once a month where we talk for like an hour and a half, about just what we're doing in life, career, fitness, relationships. How are we chasing a purpose? How are we figuring things out in the adult world in comparison to like where we were in college and high school and whatnot? And there were some good deep conversations, and we were like, let's just put the mic in front of us. Let's put a camera in front of us. Let's start recording these things and putting them out. And that was a huge goal for me this year, is to make a lot of more content, to become a creator more than a consumer. And so that's kind of the goal of this podcast, is start recording and just see what comes out of our mouths. And hopefully it resonates, because I think a lot of conversations that we've had and where this podcast will kind of guide us, resonates a lot with young men, especially young men in their mid 20s, in the kind of the same phase of life we're in, where you're at this weird little cross section, this weird little like quarter life clarity, where you're waking up from a lifestyle that might have been very cyclical and created some patterns, and realizing that you need to break those habits. And there's new habits that you need to form, and there's bigger aspects to this game of life that you're not really taught anywhere else. So that's the idea, and that's what we're going to talk about for the weeks to come.
Well said. Yep. And I think it's just to reiterate too, is that like I think that there's so many things that we're going through that we both have figured out that we're just not alone in. And so that we're talking about this stuff, and we're having like pretty like honest, open, and like vulnerable conversations about it. And so it's like, why not like let other people see that, and if they can resonate with that too and get some value from it, and know that the thing that they're going through, being in like a young man in your mid 20s, is like there. I think there's just a ton of value in that process. So yeah, no, I'm super excited that we're doing this and finally getting this together.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and just so kind of explain the layout, kind of what we expect from ourselves and the standard that we're going to hold ourselves to moving forward, with the podcast itself. So it's not going to just be me and Brandon having these conversations. We really want to bring on guests and explore their progress through this life as well, and their challenges, their experiences, how they've overcome them, how they're dealing with current challenges, where they gotten in life, how they've gotten there. A lot of just diving into cool people doing cool things and what their plans are. And that's kind of what we're expecting, to bring on friends, to bring on, hopefully in the future, bring on some really cool guests doing some cool things, through some reach out. And yeah, the cadence we'll discuss, and we'll see how often we can get these out. But yeah, the idea is just to bring on cool people and discuss these topics, and that everyone's struggling through, see how people are dealing with them.
Yeah, man, absolutely.
But yeah, I mean, that's kind of the introduction of what this podcast is going to be about, who we are. And with that, I think we'll just kind of kick it off to the opening and the meat and potatoes of this podcast, um, and get into where we're at, what we've been dealing with, what, like, the whole purpose behind this and why we're starting it. So I guess that's a good time to kind of ask you, Brandon. Like, we're both 25, 26, right? Middle of our 20s. I think it's a good time for us to take some inventory of where we are at currently. I mean, we've known each other since we were 11 years old, 12 years old. Graduated high school together, graduated college together. You know, how would you describe, like, where you are in life right now?
That's a good question. Okay, so I think where I'm at personally is it feels that like we've been out of college now for what is it, 2025? So we've been out of college for 4 years now, right? So we're
Yeah.
definitely at that point where it's like you are like a functioning adult in society. You know what I mean? We have jobs, we have careers, we have um and we're like, and it's like, but it's at the same time though too is that you also feel like you're like college was not that long ago, and you can look back and you can just see like, oh, I used to do those things, or you see some of like your younger friends at SLO, for example, right? Like you see what they're doing, like I felt like I was just doing that. And so there's definitely like this, like where personally where I'm at is like, okay, I know that like where I am right now, and then it's also too thinking about like where do I want to go in my life? And I think right
Mhm.
now is a huge definer of that. The thing, the action, the like what I decide where I put my time is really actually going to define what my life looks like in my like early 30s. You know what I mean? And moving forward
Sure.
to my late 20s. So um, where I'm at is I feel like I'm in like the start of my career. I think I'm doing well. I'm also in software, more on the analytics side, working in a software startup, but also just I worked with some other startup stuff like that too, and just like in trying to like help other companies in like consulting really. Um, and then also too, I'm also like an ex like Division 1 football athlete, and so I love training, and there's something that I cannot get away from when it is like doing something like a physically hard task. And so
Mhm.
right now, I am actually training for a half Ironman. That's something I decided at the start of this year that I wanted to do and give it a go. So I'm doing Oceanside in April, and so that's a whole other beast on its own. But I love doing hard things, and so I try to find something that I can push myself to really like get after and go. So like for instance, last year I was competing in Muay Thai and had my first competition, and that's like that, and that was the whole other experience on its own. But anyways, all that to say that I think it's like really like I feel like I'm in like that developmental phase where I know where I want to go, but at the same time are still trying to figure it out. And like, there's still so many lessons to learn, and like, and just kind of going through that process. So
Yeah. Yeah, man, I'm kind of in
kind
the
of turn
same
the question.
spot, man.
I was gonna
Yeah.
say, turn
No,
the question back
I
at you where,
yeah, Winston. No, I
yeah.
feel like we're in the same spot, dude. Like, to touch on we're 4 years out of college. Um, it's like I said earlier, it's a weird crossroad that we're at, or at least that I feel like I'm at, where for me, there's been a big struggle with knowing that I'm bound for something greater, knowing that there's a bigger purpose out there for me, and trying to use everything that I can capability wise to reach that, right? Whether it be in my career and trying to excel as much as I can there. And what another thing I've come to is you only can go so far with working for someone. Uh, Me right now as an employee for a startup, there's only so much you can do in terms of generating wealth for yourself, generating experience for yourself. Um, you kind of get shoved into this box of whatever your role is. And so for me in life, it's been more of trying to figure out how I can be the best me with the tools at my disposal. So, with my skill set in software engineering, computer science, how can I generate money doing that? How can I use my, love of fitness, similar to yours, BD, to share that with people? Um, Another thing that would definitely struggling with is coming to a realization that some people wake up to that realization a little later in life. Some people realize it when they're 18. Some people realize it when they're 30 and they finally wake up. We're 25 and starting to wake up to this idea that no one's coming to save you. You have to be your own hero and actually make something. And so that's where I'm at is, okay, shit, we're 25 coming to this. Okay, we can't focus on these old habits anymore of the post college life blended with college life, going out to bars, meeting people. Like my time, I would love to spend doing other things. And right now it's building. Right now it's trying to build something of my own. Point of this podcast, point of some side projects that I'm sure we'll touch on in the future. But that's kind of where I'm at, is just trying to build my future instead of relying on someone else's company or working for someone else to be, my future.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. So then here's a good question for you then too. And if you looked back when we had first met when we were kids, do you feel like you're ahead of where you thought you'd be right now, or maybe a little bit behind? Or is that not even, I don't think in my opinion, I don't think you're ever behind, but just would love to hear where you think you are, like expectations wise, of like where, now that you are 25 and
Yeah.
going through it.
Yeah, man, that's such a great question because one, trying to remember back when we were 18, definitely a little hard to think of things. But let's just think of like coming out of college. If you would have told me where would you be at 25? I feel like a lot of people have higher expectations than what we actually meet. I think for myself, expectation wise, like I'm turning 20. Let's just say we're 26, right? I'm turning 26 in May. So
Mhm.
26, I thought for sure I'd be a little further. Um, and the aspects, I think career wise, I'm pretty aligned with where I would want to be. Um, but as in terms of life and like having some things together, I thought I would be a little closer to owning a house. I thought I would maybe have a more stable relationship with a significant other. I thought there would be some just further progress in those milestones like marriage, home ownership, um, kids, family. Like one of my biggest things I want in life is a family, and I'm definitely nowhere near having one. We are 26 and don't need to be anywhere near it. But in terms of like what I thought where I would be, I think a lot of it came. I think a lot of the time was, I want to say wasted, because there's good lessons to learn in the time. I just don't think I was utilizing my time towards those priorities. Um, I think a lot of it was the idea of I'm doing it, but I was only doing it Monday through Thursday, right? Say Friday, even Fridays, like I would work Fridays, but they would be that, I'll call it off early. I'll take a little half day. In the tech world, you can log off pretty early. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, I don't think I am where I thought I would be at this age, but I do think giving myself kudos, I do think I'm doing fairly well, and at least having the realization at this age of there's more to it, there's more I can be. I'm pretty happy of myself and proud of myself for coming to that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, also, I think what's interesting too, though, is it's like how much of those like goals and things like that is like comes from like the way that like we're raised. You know what I mean? Where it's like
Sure.
we both come from really good families, and so you see that it's like, oh, like for instance, I think my parents were married when they were 24, maybe 25, like pretty young.
Hmm.
And so
Hmm.
then, like, that's like for me, all I knew. And that it's funny because I had that same conversation with one of my friends. He's married and has two kids now, and he's 27. And I was like, dude, you're living the life I said I was going to live when I was a
Yeah.
kid, and you're doing it.
Hmm.
But I'm like, I'm in that same place where I'm like, we're not like, I'm not close to like home ownership. I'm not close to like being married, having kids at this moment, right? So it's like, um, but so anyways, all I had to say is it makes me wonder like how much of that is like from like the process of like where we come from, and like that is like a goal. But in the way I see it too is that you're not like really like behind. There's other things that you've learned from what the choices that we have made to get to where we are right now. We've
Mhm.
learned a ton of different things from that process. But yeah, it's it's definitely a good reflection point for sure.
Yeah, dude. The seeing on Instagram some of our friends that are getting married right now
Yeah,
is
yeah,
is
it's
kind of
all.
blowing my mind.
Hmm.
Uh, like we're both friends with Tucker. Like I just saw Tucker post a wedding photo. I just
Yeah.
got off the phone with I just got off the phone with Jay, and Jay was at the wedding, as in the wedding as a groomsman. Yeah, it's wild. It's starting to blow my mind. Like there are big turning points that some of our friends are taking, and while I do think, again, like I will say I'm gonna give myself kudos. They like those big milestones, though. I just don't feel like I'm anywhere near. Um,
Hmm.
but that's again the progress of getting there is different for everyone. Um,
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and I think it all comes in time. You know what I mean? Like
sure.
you might meet for like being married, you might meet that person when you're younger. You know what I mean? And then
Mhm.
it's the natural next step. But then if you don't meet that person, then it's not. Then you're not going to be able to get married. And then also too, let's forget about the economics of owning a house these days, especially in Southern
Yeah.
California where we are.
Sure.
Like that's
Sure. Yeah.
like that's like that's not as easy as it was 20, 30 years ago.
Yeah. 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 You hear
So
these stories about our grandparents buying a house for a quarter back in the day. Just a
yeah.
$5 loan they were pulling out. But yeah. Hold on one second. Hey. Hey. Get down. Get down. Get down. Get inside. We have a saw him out there the entire time. I don't know if you can see my eyes looking over there. We have a couch that wraps around on our balcony, and he sits on it
Uh,
sometimes. But he just gets his nose above the balcony, just typically sits and stays. But this time he got the balls to put his paws up on the balcony and was standing. And the last thing I want is him going off the second story, chasing a squirrel
oh,
or
yeah.
or something.
That would not be good.
No, not ideal. Um, we'll
He's
have
not a
to.
cat.
Yeah, we'll do some editing around that. I think we were at a good stop point, but
Yeah,
yeah,
for
like
sure. No worries.
circling on that, like circling back to that, uh, like one of the lessons that I've come to learn too with just everything in life, and what I've been really trying to focus on and have more faith in is, things will just you have to be ready for things. Um, and I think when you are ready for things, God will just deliver them to you. Um, and that's one thing I've been trying to do a lot of self reflection on and self assessment on is like, I really want a family. Like, that's like one of the biggest things in the world that I want is to be a father of children and be a loving husband and to build my own family just because of the relationships that I saw my mom build with my stepdad, saw my dad build with my stepmom, and the families that they've created and generated. Um, I want that. It's the love at its purest form. But I am I ready for that right now? Not the maybe not like having kids, but am I even ready for a significant other right now? Like, could I deliver to them what they would need in a relationship? And I don't think I'm in a spot where I can. I think there's a lot of other priorities in my life that are they're weighted way heavier and have a lot more significance and importance to me. And I just don't think I've learned the lessons of myself where I'm starting to find out who I truly am, starting to really find my passions, starting to really find my hobbies, starting to curate a group of friends of like-minded men who are actually pushing me forward. Uh, so I just don't think I could deliver on the level that my significant other would even need at this point to start that progress, let alone the kids
Mhm.
part and all of that follows. I have a dog. He almost just jumped off the balcony. Like I definitely not ready for some fucking toddlers or anything. But yeah, man, that's like one of the biggest lessons I've come to realize and trying to have more faith in is um, you get what you deserve and are ready for. And I don't think I'm ready for some of that stuff. And it's okay.
Hmm.
We're still working on it.
And part of it too, when it comes to like relationship stuff too, is I think that like when you're like, I think we like, I would say we're high achieving. We have like a really like high drive to do like certain things, right? Is we're both really busy with a bunch of different like like little hobbies and things that we like to do. Um, but I think when the right person comes around too, is that you'll have the desire to want to like change the and reprioritize because
Hmm.
you're right, like what you have going on right now, you probably couldn't like have all of that, but then with the right person you never know how you'd want to like reprioritize some of your things to be like, that's something I actually want to invest more time and more effort into, and then it all just comes. um yeah, I would say, yeah. And I think it's a similar lesson that I've learned. It's like we're all running our own race. It's that like there's so many people that are doing that it feels like, okay, they're getting married, they're having kids, or they're doing this, or they started their own business and they've already done these things, and it's like and they're younger than us. But it's like I
Yeah.
think that but when you're living in like that comparison, then you're never like content with where you are and what you're doing. So that's been a huge lesson that I've learned, is like we're running our own race. It's that like your timing is the right timing. Your timing is the timing that God has for you, and but the hardest part is having faith and trust in that plan, right? Because that's the easiest thing for me, is to like want to be able to like control what's the next thing. So having an ability to be like to let go of that control and really like try and focus on just that the next step and like just that present moment. So
Hmm.
um
Sure. Yeah. And like to your point too, like, I think when that right person does come along, uh, they prove to you that there's more worth being with them than there is being alone anymore. I think they provide value, um, to maybe some things you're missing, maybe they enhance some of the things you're working towards. Goals aligned, though, is what I'm trying to get at here.
mhm.
Is when that right person comes along, they're just going to be more of a drive. They're not going to hinder your performance towards things.
It's an
They're going to push.
addition.
Yeah, they're going to push you for
Mhm.
exactly. In addition, it's a great way to put it. Um, but yeah, no, when
Yeah.
that time comes, like again, like I'm building towards that. And it's hard too because we see these things on social media and versus like real life of what are people actually posting and what are people wanting the world to see rather than what are people actually dealing with. So you get this impression that people are more well off than they're letting on. And so you're delivered this where you should be at 25 through a camera, but you're not seeing the behind the scenes of what real life is for them.
Oh yeah, totally. It's that's something I think our parents or generations ahead, like older generations, could never understand about what we've had to go through growing up. Is like, I
Sure.
think for us, we were probably right about the start of the social media age, right? Like Facebook was
Yeah.
created in what was it? Was it 2012 or I thought it was 2002? I don't remember. But
Dude, I made my current Instagram account, I think in seventh grade. Like, yeah,
yeah,
we were like right on the cusp. And Instagram was like the shit back then. You were
hmm
really cool if you knew what Instagram was. You were off Facebook. I guess we were before MySpace, but
yeah. Well, it's like, and so that's what I'm saying, is like with those, like with that at your fingertips, like it's just an instant comparison of everything you're doing, right? It's so
Mhm.
easy to, and that's why like you even hear about like how like unfortunate is like sometimes like people um like people will go through like certain eating disorders because they're not looking the way that somebody else, like a certain model looks like. But then
Mhm.
now it's not just like a billboard model. It's like, no, that model is like on someone's phone and they compare to
Yeah,
them every day. You know what I mean? So it's like
yeah,
those things where that's like a more global look, but it's so easy just to fall into that in like the like even in your own friend groups of
sure.
like, oh, like this person, they're doing this and this, that it's seen that like this must be going so well for them, when in reality it's like, nah dude, like they like they're just like, that was like that, like 3 months worth of posts, and that they had 5 good pictures that whole time in 3 months, and they were
Yeah.
really struggling, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Exactly.
um,
I it's almost like the optimization of trying to make your life look as beautiful as possible and optimizing for that. And like I know like me and you have been kind of like big time. I don't know. I actually you've been like posting a little more on social media and stuff. I've I definitely have recently with the new fitness account that I've created.
yeah,
But
yeah.
I've stayed away from social media. I had like a really weird relationship with social media where I would delete it for years at a time. This happened because of a breakup actually back in the day. Is I just got off of it. It was like I don't need to see anything, and I lived my life. It's crazy actually what happens when you actually just live your life. But I would have this weird relationship with it because it's very addicting, as people know. And so whenever it's on my phone, I feel like I'm constantly picking it up. I'll close the app down. I'll pick it right back up and open the app, and like catching myself like, dude, you just closed it down. What are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so it is.
Yeah, dude.
It is a strange time that we live in with the wealth of information we have at our fingertips, but the unknown side effects of that as well that people just didn't foresee. And like again, our generation definitely are the test dummies of it.
Yeah, for sure, absolutely. And I hope it gets better. I think there is a level to it, but I don't know, dude. It's kind of concerning though too, because you see like the amount of like hours spent like on TikTok or Instagram Reels, like how much time like it's
Sure.
just like people get glued into that thing and get into the cycle. Um, yeah, I feel the
Yeah.
same way though. There's like I've been posting a little bit more just because I've been enjoying it and it's fun,
Hmm.
and part of me too is like I've been like trying to like dabble with like the with just taking more pictures and putting yourself more out there. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
just trying to like and really talking like to what you had said about content creation. I haven't gone to the point of creating a new page like you have. I think it's been super sick. So I want to give you some some props for this getting that started, dude. It's cool. I like it.
Yeah, man.
Um,
I appreciate that. Like it's definitely something that I'm really trying to optimize and like prioritize towards. Like for me right now in the stage of life, like this year, 2025, huge year of making money. Like that's like where all
mhm.
my time and focus is really going to be. Whether that be with some career progression, which we can get into, but whether it be, chasing promotion, whether it be chasing raises, uh, that is great. And I think kind of establishing a career is awesome. It's a great path for a lot of people. I just don't think for me, it is giving me a lot of fulfillment. I want to build something of my own. Like that's what I really want to do. And so I love that we started this podcast together because that's going to be a great little, like something that we get to keep alive and build, like it's this little, as of right now, it's in its infancy and we get to actually see like, where are we going to bring this thing? And that's
Mhm.
like a similar thing that I'm really aiming towards and have my priority set towards right now is I I've had a better, healthier relationship with Instagram recently. And what I was seeing was like a lot of the content I was being delivered was from a lot of fitness accounts, and just because I'm into fitness, and I would see some of the stuff, the diets they're doing, the workouts they're doing, the training splits, whatever it be, and I'm like, I do that, like I'm doing that every day, and I have for years now, and dive a little more into the money and business behind it all because digital content is a digital marketing in itself is a huge fucking business out there. A lot of money in it. And diving
Mhm.
into like, okay, what does it mean to have an audience of 10,000 followers? What does it mean to have an audience of 50,000 followers? What does it mean to have an audience of 500,000, of 1 million, 2 million? What does that allow you to do? Not only in the partnerships and sponsorships you can like create from it, but also like I think a big thing for me is going back to wanting to build something of my own and aligning with my aspirations and passions. If I could push a fitness product of whether it be a fitness energy drink, an energy bar, I don't know, something. I haven't given it too much thought. Just if I wanted to get into that space of actually selling some type of product, it's much easier to do so if you have already built an organic audience. So that's kind of the goal for me. Like, is one, I'm doing the shit already, so I'm doing it for myself. But why not try to make a little money from it? Why not try to build an audience that you can monetize through sponsorships, through ad partnerships, or at the end goal, ideally, to be able to launch something of my own that
Mm-hmm.
I've spent some time and process actually building.
At the bottom line, if you enjoy it too, then it's not
Yeah,
like, and it's just something that you get to do as well. And then anything that's extra from it, that comes from it, is it's all bonuses. You know what I mean? So if you're enjoying that process and you're enjoying that, like working out, and you're enjoying like the way you're eating and those kind of things, you just put a camera in front of it, dude. It's crazy. Like the stories you hear of people, like how much they can really like so it's life changing. You can change your life with some just by putting a camera in front of it. That's
yeah,
like that's the digital age that we're in right now, which is
yeah,
it's cool, you know. So um
yeah.
but yeah, so to say you overall, just to like kind of recap it, you're optimizing for overall career and like personal like business development. Was that like a fair summary? You would say that's like your biggest priority?
Yeah, I think biggest priority of 2025 this year for me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I break my goals down into the five F's: finance, fitness, faith, friendship, and fun. Sorry, not friendship, friendship and family. I kind of encapsulate
Sure.
relationships in general.
Relationships. Yeah.
Yeah, my friendships are so like you, Andrew, the Gordons, my roommate Matthew, my friends from college that I lived with for a very long time. Like I have very small group, very small circle that I consider family, so I kind of keep those in it.
Mm-hmm.
But just like maintaining those relationships. So those are the goals that I have set. But I think the highest priority for this year is uh, is chasing financial freedom and or moving closer towards
Mm-hmm.
it. Right, moving closer towards it. What about you?
Absolutely.
What are you optimizing for this year? What are your highest priorities?
Let's see. So the way I broke down my goals for 2025, it was um, I've become a big believer of one, trying new things,
Okay.
and then two, like doing hard things. And so like so last year, right, I would say like, so when I look back at 2024 was like the what was like the coolest thing I did that was like just like mind blowing was like I had actually done like solo traveling, and I went to Thailand for like 16 days by myself, right? So I just booked a flight and planned some things out. I got some help from my aunt with some planning, which saved me a little bit for sure. But
Mm-hmm.
other than that, it's like I was in a country where English is not the native language, and you're just there. And so there's a lot of like um, there's a lot of things you learn when you solo travel. Everybody says it, but it's like it's kind of corny in some ways, but it's like you're the only person that's there for you. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
There's nobody like there's no significant other to look after like the little things that might go wrong, or family members to like to talk to things about like you want to share with. It's just that you do what you want to do,
Mm-hmm.
and you do it when you want to do it. And so there's this like really cool experience that you get from that kind of thing where it's like um it's challenging. It's mentally challenging to be alone like that. I don't know if there's not a lot of people I think that can really be alone truly like that, because in a world where we are so digitally connected, um, you're actually just there by yourself. And so then you figure out what you like, you figure out what you don't like.
Mm-hmm.
And then once you and so then after you get past like that first initial step, it's like, wow, dude, I get to go and just like enjoy what I like to do.
Mm-hmm.
So anyways, that was a new thing I had done. And so that's where kind of that philosophy comes from. And so I try to combine them into it, two birds, one stone for this one, which is right now is like personal. Um, it's more, I would say it's like a more like personal, like character building kind of thing, which really is for me with that, this Ironman coming up for is, before signing up for it, I hadn't ran longer than, I think it was 10 miles was my maximum. And I never swam in a pool to actually like really swim. I don't even think I
Yeah.
could swim a lap, and I didn't have a bike. And so there's so right now what I'm optimizing is definitely like what this is, and I kind of talked to you about was like that Masogi, like one hard task that's like that's potential that you could potentially fail at,
Mm-hmm.
and so that's what I want. And so basically something that I'm gonna force myself to get uncomfortable, force myself to actually really work for something that's gonna be hard, but it'll be something that I can look back on and be proud of. That's like if I did it, that's I did that thing. So
Nice.
right now, the start of this year, it's been training for that. It's been long rides, long runs, swims, but it's crazy the progress that you can make in the endurance world. So, um, yeah, so that I would say that's been the biggest priority at the start of this year. But I also intentionally put this in like the start of like quarter, or like it's really like, I guess quarter two is the start of quarter two. But so that way at the end of this year or mid to end of this year I can really focus on the career part, and that was a big thing that I had also put put into my goals was getting into like the fields I really want to be in. I really want to be more in data science. I'm in analytics now, which I do enjoy, um, but I really want to be more in data science, and like that slight distinction. But then also too is I do have like a similar passion, I would say, and a similar desire to want to be able to create my own sort of like income and wealth, And so, in some way, like a like developing my own business um, or like content kind of things. And I think for this part is I don't know exactly what it looks like yet, and and we'll try to figure it out once there's more time to like place to it. But doing that's why like doing this podcast, like you said, is super exciting because this is like one step for us that we can really start working towards that. And so and hopefully like, we can turn this thing into something that just adds value to people's lives, right? Because right now it's our conversation between us. We're kind of catching up and letting other people know like what this is going to be. But hopefully we can have conversations with other people who are like so different from us. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And like out
Mm-hmm.
of a different friend group and out of different like had different interests, and we can hear what they think about these things, and then other people can listen to that, and maybe if they pull one thing, then we've helped those people like learn something. So I think that's really cool. Um, Kind of getting off topic, but I would say, yeah. So start of this year is definitely going to be like those physical tasks, those physical um, things, and then towards like the middle to back end of this year, I'll be looking really towards like that financial freedom, building career, because there's still steps I want to do career wise before I think leaving. If I were to ever leave, like that traditional 9 to 5, I want to be able to achieve some of these things that like I've set out to achieve.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. It is. It is kind of like building the own kind of wealth, right, or like income. Um, let me walk that back. Actually, like it's cool that we both have these like big goals that we're working towards, uh, and this ambition to be something more than what we are now. And I think for you, it's cool too because for both of us, your ambition is leading you towards this route of trying something new and difficult. But it's also fitness, which I know you're very passionate about, right?
Yep.
So,
Mm-hmm.
you're picking up a new hobby of swimming, you're picking up a new hobby of biking, like you're picking up a new hobby of running, because I know you weren't like the biggest runner before, but you
Mm-hmm.
actually are enjoying your activities that you're working towards. And on the flip side of that coin, too, me as well, uh, the fitness account recording stuff that I love doing anyway. So like while we do have these ambitions and drives that we're working towards, even career wise, like I love what I do in software development. You're very passionate about data analytics. I know you want to pivot into like a data science role, but we're in trajectories and paths right now that we have aligned our goals, our end goal with stuff that we love. And so there
Mm-hmm.
isn't this trade-off of ambition with enjoying life. It's more like we're chasing something in the process of doing things we love. And it makes the grind way easier.
Yeah,
Like
absolutely.
because you start falling in love with the grind. Like I love working
Mm-hmm.
out. I love going to the gym. I love going on my 6 mile runs. I love doing the whole hybrid thing. And because I love that, like documenting and filming it and putting it out there is not a big deal.
Hmm.
I actually get like enjoyment from it. And same, I mean, I don't want to speak for you, but I imagine it's the same for you training for this Ironman. It's like, yes, I know you got to go on like a 2 hour bike ride today, which is fucking crazy to say out loud. But at the same time, like conquering those things is through an activity that at least you love to do.
Oh, dude, totally. And I feel like so lucky to like live in Southern California where we get to do this I get to do this in February, March. Like, and it's, yeah, it's what was it, 2 weeks ago? It ended up being like a 3.5 hour ride. And then we went for 60 miles total.
Hmm.
Um, but it's like, it's so hard to not enjoy bombing down the 101. Just like coming from Carlsbad down through like Lucadia to Encinitas and then through Del Mar, like, and you're on the coast this whole time. So maybe I'm lucky. Maybe if you put me somewhere in the Midwest or something, maybe I wouldn't like it as much. But dude,
Nothing,
it's
nothing against the Midwest. We love
nothing. It's
Ohio.
Midwest.
Well, we fucking hate Cleveland. Fuck Cleveland. But you know,
Yeah, but you know what I mean. So like that part definitely makes it a little bit more like enjoyable too, where it's like, okay,
sure, yeah.
like it's like how can you like be upset when it's 60 degrees outside in February and it's like perfect biking weather and you hear the waves crashing and you're with like
Hmm.
some buddies that are all like training for similar things and it's yeah.
Yeah.
But to what you're saying though, there is um like a passion in just like that, the process of
Sure.
doing it, and then like in like the discipline of it too, because like at least for what like for me is that I have like that, like I have an event to like go to, so there you just have to do these things, but then when you're in like that consistency, dude, it's just like, and I'm sure you feel it the same when you're like consistent with your workouts, and I know you have been, 'cause I've been seeing it, but it's like you just feel better, like your body feels better, and like and like overall like you're just like you're happier and there's literally like neuroscience behind those things, but
Hmm.
yeah, dude, it's that the process of what like we're doing, what we're going through is like it's enjoyable and it's a grind, but it's like you can't complain about it when this is what you like to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah, a hundred
So
percent, 100%. You know, the one thing I love about fitness is money can buy you anything, but money cannot buy you a six pack. Money cannot buy you a 6% body fat physique. You have to earn it, like through sweat and hard work. Like, sure, money might help you with the best trainers. It might help you with a dietitian. It might help you with the meal plan, a personal chef, whatever it is. But at the end of the day, like you have to stay disciplined to your diet. You have to push through that last rep. You have to make sure that you're waking up in time to get into the gym before work starts, or to, you know, you just had a long day at work. I have to go to the gym tonight. Like that's the one thing I love about fitness. It is a true. That's why I think a lot of people like almost pivoting here into like males today and like just masculinity in general. Like you run into a fit male on the street. I think there's just a level of respect that comes garnered with it because you know that there is a level of discipline there that they've had to put in to earn it.
mhm.
And it's just not something you see across really anything else. Maybe you could say education and knowledge because at the end of the day, like studying and like consuming and like being on top of everything definitely is not something you can just buy either. I guess maybe ChatGPT you can make an argument, um, but yeah, no, that's the one thing I love about fitness, man. It's like you, if you win, it's a level of respect that comes garnered with seeing someone that is in peak shape.
Yeah, and not to forget, dude, is that you like everybody only has one body. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? And I think there's a great quote from one of these influencers who I really like. I've sent him to you, Higher Up Wellness, Michael Smoke. I love
Yeah,
his content, but one of his like tagline that he always says is that it's like um I'll lose my train of thought. Hold on, we're good. Okay.
yeah, we're good. I was just opening the door for Winston. We'll edit. I was
No,
gonna have you keep going and just take
yeah.
me out of the shot, but
No
we'll,
worries, dude. I
we'll
end
make
up
some
losing my
edits.
train of thought, so like it works out perfectly. I was like trying to like recall the quote, and I was like, oh no.
Dude,
Um,
I
love
knew
it.
this was gonna
He's
be a
funny.
fucking pain in the ass with Winston. I'm gonna have to
Sorry.
figure that out. I'm gonna have to figure out some ways of like how to keep him entertained.
Maybe does he like
Maybe
rawhides or anything? You can give him a bone.
guys, you know what? Yeah, I'm gonna. Well, here's the deal. Well, I'm way too far.
I can hear you a little bit if you're in here.
You said give him these for an hour, bro. He takes these down in like 20 minutes.
Really?
Fucking crazy. Look at that. Fucking eat some.
Dude, that's insane.
Wait, you want this? You bet. We'll get in your bed. Entertains him.
I was gonna say, have him sit in the kitchen so we can see, so the people can
So
see.
yeah, right behind. Move his bed there.
Yeah.
Yeah, but let's see. How do we hop back in this? I even forgot.
Should we just like make a big cut scene right here? Cut scene, cut scene, cut scene.
just like
Is that way we can find it?
we'll put in me giving him one of these and have the whole conversation about Winston being a pain in my ass.
Wow. Oh, I would know. I remember the quote. Yeah, the quote. So from Higher Up Wellness, right? That guy. His quote is, "Everybody has a laundry list of problems until you have a health problem, and then you have one problem."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so it's like that's kind of going to what you were talking about of like they're like that discipline of like of somebody, but like you don't think about like you can have like so many things going on in your life, but then if you have a health problem, like that's the only thing that matters. And it doesn't matter, like work doesn't matter anymore. It doesn't like it's just really just getting healthy. And so it's really being able to like actually just do like take care of yourself. You know what I mean? It's like part of the fitness too, that I think is just like at some level like a a bare minimum that people should be doing in general just to take care of themselves. And then depending on how much you care about it, how much you like it, because maybe not everyone likes fitness, and that's totally okay. But there should be a level of like this is what like we do to make sure that you can like live a healthy life, and for your to be there for your family, to be there for your friends, to be there for you. So
Well, that's like, I think that's one of the conversations that just not a lot of people are having today is centered around how fitness, just health in general, right? Like you don't have to be crazy. You don't have to be training for Ironmans. You don't have to be waking up and going to the gym 6 days a week, but like, just like keeping good health in general, going to the gym maybe 2-3 times a week, going on a run. You don't even have to have a gym membership, going on walks, eating relatively whole foods, whole food diet, like how that can help cure a lot of the struggles that people are dealing with today, which is, loneliness, depression, anxiety. While, that might not be the sole reason. I'm not saying I'm not a doctor. I'm for sure never going to be a doctor, but that is a very easy cure that just a lot of people just don't talk about. And a lot of people just don't talk about those struggles in general. They don't let on to them. And unfortunately, they deal with them alone and not so maybe sometimes talking to a parent or a sibling or a good friend, a close friend. But it is outside of, the discipline that it brings. The health benefits not only are physical, but also can be mental as well. And just not a lot of people are talking about that, which is unfortunate.
yeah, I think I think there's a lot of factors that probably go into that. But it's at some level too. I think we have um, not an issue, I would say, but I don't think it's normalized to be vulnerable all the time, and I think it's hard to be vulnerable too. Right. So it's not one, I don't think it's very normalized. And then two, it's also hard. Like it's hard to let people in to see that you're struggling. You know what I mean? And so, um, but you realize that when you do, and when you do let somebody in, or if you get help from some like from therapy, or if you have a counselor or something like that, like you realize that you're not alone, that people are going through the same things that you're going through. And granted, it's your situation and it's unique to you, but like there is like resources to kind of like work through those those feelings or those situations that are foreign to you, so it is a tough one though, because it's like you definitely like, I wish that there was more more conversations about some of those struggles, because I think that's some of the things that like what we've talked about before, like like offline of this podcast, is like there's been things that we've gone through that are tough, and they're not like easy things to go through, and then at the same time to like be able to like process and be able to work through it. Um, but then it's like, but I'm grateful for our friendship that we're where we are able to talk about those things, right? But not everybody has those kind of things. That's why I think therapy has become a big resource in.
Point two is like being able to open up about it too. In today's society, I feel like there's, I don't know. I feel like the contradictory, because we're told to open up. Like I feel like there's a big pressure of like, don't hold it in, talk to therapists, talk to your friends, talk to loved ones about the things you're struggling through, which I'm a big believer in. I think you should have a small circle that you discuss those things with. I don't think you should open up about those things with people that are not inside your inner circle. But also at the same time, like we're told to be a rock. Like we're told to be the cornerstone. We're told to like stand up and be leaders in the faces of adversity. So I do feel like there's this like double standard for men nowadays on dealing with some of these struggles they go through. And I don't know. Like what do you think there? You think that's true before I kind of go into why I think so, or
I think so. I mean, I do think it's that's been like a stigma, or just something that's been out there for, I think, for longer than we've been alive. You know what I mean? Where it's like, and
sure.
that's like, there's, I don't know. Yeah, I feel like you hear stories or you read about things about like, um, I think that's why some men will leave their situations. Or like, God forbid, like commit suicide. Those kind of things, like those happen, I think, because there's a pressure that they feel that they need to be, do certain things, and then if they feel like they failed, then they can't speak about it to anybody, and then they leave, right?
Yeah.
And they escape it somehow, or that's why
Mm-hmm.
like certain addictions might or like abuses might come up too. So
Mm-hmm.
I definitely think that's true, and it's hard because you have it is a double standard in ways. But I believe though too is that like the right people that are for your life
Mm-hmm.
won't make you feel like that, won't make you feel uncomfortable when you become vulnerable. That's how I'll say it. So
Sure. Yes. Yes.
you know what I mean? And so
Mm-hmm.
like, um if there's somebody who will challenge your masculinity or something, or make you feel that you're not like doing what you should be doing as a man, um or like that, I don't think that's like the people that you would even want to have around in your life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's a little vague. I don't think it's as easy as cut and dry as that, but I don't
No,
know.
I,
I
I
I,
s-
hear- I hear what you're saying for sure, and it's definitely like there is that double standard that you have to do XYZ as a man to be considered like what a real man is, but at the same time too, you have to do things that like, and open up and talk and do the and but then, yeah, they're
yeah.
contradicting
I
at
think I think
times.
there's a balance, right, man? I think there's a balance. Like I think venting to your close friends about struggles that you're going through is very needed. I think grabbing some beers and discussing problems that you're dealing with and like things that are maybe making you sad and frustrated are awesome. Um, I do think though that you, as a man, you cannot allow those things to affect your life. You can't allow it to you can't allow it to not get in the gym. You can't make it so that you stop showing up to work. you can't make it so that it actually affects you. Like whether you are tired, whether you just got 8 hours of sleep, whether you are sad or whether you are the happiest in your life, there are just things that you have to do. And so like that is one thing I do think, as you know, today's society kind of like allows people to have a cop out, of, you know, don't get me wrong, talk to people, talk these emotions out. That is something that needs to happen. Um, but you cannot allow it to affect your day to day. Otherwise, that's, I don't know. I think it's a testament to who you are. Sometimes if you like, that's just life. Like everyone goes through this. I'm like, you're not, to put this delicately, you're not special if shit hits the fan. Like shit hits the fan for everyone.
Yeah.
And so, you know, you can't use it as an excuse. Sometimes, don't get me wrong, there are times where you can take some time to yourself. I think it's very needed, but that time cannot be sitting there moping and like sitting in your own sorrow. That time should be spent dealing with the emotions, facing them, feeling them, and moving on, so that you can, you know, start attacking life again.
Yeah.
But that is like my
Yeah, you said
one.
exactly what I was going to say. Mhm.
Yeah, like that's just my one thing. I feel like with the whole push of mental health, I do feel like it, and maybe this is just my interpretation of a lot of it. And I know they're walking, I feel like I'm walking on eggshells here, very walking a tight line. But I do think it allows people to take like, it gives people an excuse. It gives people a way to cop out of things. And in reality, it's like everyone goes through it. There's ways of coping with it. There's ways of dealing with it. But you can't use it as an excuse for not showing up in aspects of your life.
Yeah,
Um,
agreed. And I think there's times though where you're definitely going to have to, like, you're not going to show up 100% of what you think your 100% is, but
yeah,
showing up 100% of what you're fully capable of in that moment, right?
sure.
And
That's a good
then
way of putting it.
that's how I like to like look at it, because there's some days where it's like, you know, like you might have you might be going through like some bad family stuff or some relationship stuff that like that kind of sucks, and you're still going to get your things done that you need to get done, but you might not be feeling as chipper that morning in the meeting, right? So it's
Yeah.
like, but you're still there, you're showing up, you're doing it, but it's like you're just giving. That's how I try to think about it. You giving the 100% of like of where you're at, and then your 100% might vary at times. And I don't think it's ever okay to use it as an excuse, but oh, I just like
Mm-hmm.
it's okay to be this all the time. But like it is like a scale in some way, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I was going to ask you, what if you had what's an unpopular opinion you have about success, life, or masculinity? It was kind of leading into that, but it sounds that like it sounds like might have touched that a little bit.
Yeah, I don't feel like that would be, maybe maybe with some of our friends that might fly. I don't know. I don't feel like a lot of people would agree with me there.
Hmm.
I don't think I'm saying anything crazy though.
I
I
agree.
think I think there are times where, and for me, I don't know, me personally, I mean, we've talked about some of the things I've gone through and like how they affected me, and like, um, there are other ways too where like you can use some of those emotions that you go through and aspects of your life as fuel well, right? um and so yeah, like everyone's got demons that they're fighting. It's all about how you manage them and how you act, because life keeps moving forward. So that's kind of just my controversial take on it.
Yeah.
I hate to say like suck it up, like pick yourself up by your bootstraps, because that's not really what I'm getting at. Because like it's gonna suck, like those emotions they suck. It's not fun. You don't want to do the things, but you still have to do them. You don't have to be happy that you're doing them. It doesn't have to change how you're feeling at all. But rent's got to get paid. Your dog's got to get fed. Your kids have to get fed. You know that they're just like things you have to take care of your health. You can't let your health slack off because of something else that happened. Like there are things that just have to get done at all times, whether you're happy, sad, tired. rested. However you're feeling,
Yeah.
there's tasks.
No, it's a level of like responsibility that you have to
Hmm.
the things that you care about. So
Yeah,
for sure.
but yeah, that's my probably my one controversial opinion for this podcast. We'll see. There might be more.
We might touch
There
more.
might
We'll
be
see.
more. Yeah, luckily we'll have an audience of like 3 people, so maybe this won't
Yeah.
get me canceled so quickly. But
Sorry,
yeah,
Michael.
uh, I will say this though, since we're on the topic of like being a man and what today's society is of being a man. The one thing I will say that I don't like, I feel like there's two um, philosophies right now that are really hot in just society. I think there's a lot of the focus only on money, focus only on being more powerful, like focus only on yourself, never settle down. You'll attract all the women. You'll gain, you'll gain all the wealth, like all of that. But then I don't feel like there's a lot of people that are, oh, well, there are some. I'm trying to think of like names. Like Jordan Peterson does a good way of this as well. Um, it's more like being kinder to yourself, not being soft on yourself, but being like just um, more accepting of, like, you don't have to be go 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 all the time is what I guess I'm trying to say. I don't know. I feel like I've lost this train of thought.
No, it's kind of like having a like some like self like compassion almost like and some like grace to like where you are and what
Sure.
you're doing.
Hmm.
Um, where there is, yeah, I don't know. Are you saying that there's a different there's like a push pull with like the grind versus like the balance of it? Is that what you're getting after? Or are you saying that it's like you think that you should always be grinding, or do you think you should always like be in like a state of like homeostasis balance almost?
I think I'm sorry. Yes, I'm with you on the homeostasis balance. Um, but I think you got to do it in the ways where you're still working, right? The whole
Hmm.
constantly working, the whole I'm up for 18 hours a day and I'm never nonstop doing work. I'm gonna call bullshit on a lot of that, to be honest. Sure, if you want to consider work like going to the gym, taking care of yourself, all right. If you want to consider work like taking care of like a family, oh, okay, I guess. Um, but there are like levels to your life that like will bring you joy and bring you happiness. And I don't know, if you want to classify those as work because you do have to maintain relationships and you do have to put effort into things, sure. But like I feel like there is like a message preached sometimes where it's like I wake up at 6 a.m. and I go to bed at 4 a.m. I get 2 hours of sleep and I'm working nonstop, 100%. It's like, all right, shit, come on, let's relax.
Yeah, for sure. No doubt, no doubt. Yeah, that's a little out there. And
Yeah.
then I don't know. The way I try to see it too, for when it comes to like that, because like kind of what you're touching to is like that, almost like that work-life balance, right? Of like
Mm-hmm.
how much time do you spend like working for the things like and putting like tangible hours to like the things you want to achieve versus um having like that balanced life where you work a set amount of hours, you get to go, you have like some, you get to go work out, or maybe you get to go on a trip, or you take time off for work. Like, how much of that
Yeah.
does it happen? My philosophy that I've like adopted over the past few years that I really enjoyed is there's going to be time like periods of imbalance to achieve the things you want. And so, like, if there's something it's a big goal and a big priority, you're going to put your head down and go get it. And for a month, 2 months, 3 months, it might be a freaking grind, and
Yeah.
you might be in this state of like working like legitimately 12-hour days, like on like at least for what we do, might be on the computer 12 hours a day.
Yeah.
It that's not a sustainable thing like for like your holistic life. But if there's a goal that we're trying to hit, I know that either of us would do that.
Yeah.
But then what I try to be intentional about is after I put that level of like work or power into that kind of thing, then what I will do is like, okay, now I can pull back a little bit and add back to the areas that I know that will sustain me for longer.
Hmm.
Um, but that's really kind of the principle that I will try to live by, is that and that helps with the grind too. It's like, you know what, this is not forever. Like you're gonna if we're working on job interviews or we're working on like a project or something, it's like, this is not forever. We gotta push down and just go. And then once it's done, then we can kind of reallocate some time and get some things back. But
Yeah.
that's
Well,
kind
you're
of how
right.
I
Like,
view it.
yeah, it's seasons, right? Like it's seasons of life.
Exactly.
Where there might be 3 months at a time where you are going hard on at work. You're working 12-hour days. Um, you don't you're getting in the gym, but you're not really focusing on it as much. The relationships aren't a huge priority in your life, and then that time passes. Like you get through that project, or you turn in that assignment, whatever it is that you're working on. You finally launch your new product at work, or finally launch that business, and now it's a new task. But that opens up, like something I've found in my personal life is I've had some gnarly 6-month work phases of my life, and as of recent, like I've had some like really cool fitness phases of my life where I've dedicated maybe a few more hours in the gym daily than I were for the previous 6 months. But I think
Hmm.
that's the time with everything. These phases of priorities, or these seasons of priorities. Um, yeah, that's the one thing too with those, like with like prioritizing relationships sometimes. Um, definitely haven't been in those phases at all either. But the kind of world around dating it well as well right now is super weird. It's almost like with all the apps and everything, it's almost like it's incentivizing people to be so busy, because now you can just like start your relationships on the phone, and like be very like, you don't have to, like our parents would have to go out and go meet people and like actually like, so not only would they have to plan their day around work, the gym, health, whatever it is, all this time they actually had to make time to go out to meet people, not just like already have it set up. It's an interesting like dynamic with it, because if you are a really busy person, it can be very useful. I don't think a lot of people use those apps that way in the dating world today, unfortunately. Um, but yeah, it's an interesting world for that if you're prioritizing relationships in your life as well.
Yeah, totally. I yeah, I know I can be better at that. That's definitely relationships, like even like as much as like friends relationships too. That's been a part of like my life I want to get back into, because
Yeah,
I've been so consumed between career and like personal like training kind of things. That's
sure.
where so much of my time's going. And I would love to be able to like call some of the boys a little bit more, like get a trip on the calendar or something like that, and
Yeah,
then do things like that. But then going back into what you're saying about dating, I totally agree that there's a um, it's it's just a challenge, I think. And I think it's just part of like our generation, where we are this like social media generation, where that's like Hinge, Tinder, whatever it is, those things are dating, or those things are like social media,
sure.
you know. And it's
Yeah,
like
yeah, that's a good way of putting it, man. You like literally make a profile.
yeah, you make a profile, you showcase the things that you think that you like, that you want to be seen,
Yeah.
and people get to choose if that's what they like, or if that's what they want. And
Mhm.
so it's like weird. It is tough to like really meet people that are like
Sure.
in the same space that you are at in.
Let me ask you this. Do you think that the stories that we've heard from like how our parents met or how our grandparents met, uh, my my grandparents are high school sweethearts, but my
Oh,
parents met through a softball league. Um, or sorry, my mom and my stepdad met through a softball league, and my mom or my stepmom and my dad met out at a bar in Folsom. Actually, I think we've actually been to it, Powerhouse. But
oh no
besides
way.
the point, besides the point, my question for you is: do you think people of our generation will have those love stories that our parents and grandparents got to create.
Okay, I've two responses to this. It's that question.
Mm-hmm.
I think holistically, not as much as the past, just because of the accessibility of these of like Hinge, and you hear success stories. I'm sure you have some friends where it's like, yeah, we met on Hinge and we have a great relationship, or some people have gotten like there's plenty of people who've gotten married from dating apps, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, but then I would also say though too, I do think that there is like a big like crave for connection right now, and
Mm-hmm.
real personal connection. And to where people, I think people want to have that story. We met at the X place and did this, and we kicked it, and then we went on a date, and then it went well, and then we did this and this, and then that's now we're married. I think
Yeah.
people have a desire for that. So I hope that that can become a thing. And even down here in like in San Diego, right, is that like there's like a ton of leagues that people like active, like there's like pickleball leagues, or there's like volleyball, or there like I was playing in a flag football league just to meet friends, and I actually met a good group of guys out here through that. Um, but there's like a ton of like different like clubs and stuff like that. I remember I sent you that coffee and chill thing where it's
Yeah, I went.
and
I
I
went actually.
yeah, okay, cool. I went to
It
the
was
one they opened one in San Diego too, and I went to it. It's like
yeah, yeah, I saw that.
and it's like it's really like it's just a group of people that all get to hang out and talk. That's all it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But and those things are like really successful, and like there's a ton of people there. And part of it, I think, is because of what like kind of the things we're hitting on is that um, people are looking for like that more personal connection. So
sure.
the short answer to your question, I think that it's going to be less than what our parents or grandparents had, but I do have hope that that won't be forever,
Mm-hmm.
because I think that there's that people are starting to see that and seeing like how much like we are like connectedly disconnected, where you
Yeah,
want to have
yeah.
those real those like more in person real interactions. So
No, that's a good way of putting it. Connectedly disconnected. I like that. Um, yeah, no, I'm with you, man. I don't know. I haven't met anyone, my friend circle that has met their significant other that they're currently with through a dating app. It's all been very organic, that I can think of at least.
I
Um,
think
it is interesting, but the here's the other thing that I see a lot of too. I do feel like maybe it's just the circle of friends I hang out with, but I do feel like there are not as many uh, relationships going on either. Like I feel like a lot of like you said, the deeper relationships that people are forming, I don't think are happening as much just because of the access to people, um, which is a little unfortunate. But I don't know if it's the root cause is these dating apps. Um, but I do see like a lot of people are very surface level, and it's very quick relationships. They're not those year, 2 year relationships that are happening, that we're seeing, at least that I am seeing personally through friendships and whatnot.
well, I wonder how much of that is this too, where it's I told a couple of my college buddies now have gotten are getting married. And
Mm-hmm.
what we were our group was talking about, and I was talking to one of my friends, I was like, basically all like the serious relationships out of college at our age now. So if they were a serious relationship in college and they made it out this far, those are the relationships that are getting married. Those
Yeah,
are the people that are getting
yeah,
married, right? And
yeah.
so and then everybody else for the most part is like in this like dating single or not looking or whatever it is, and they're not in that they're not doing that.
Sure.
So
Mm-hmm.
I do think it's like what we are seeing now is definitely like I I don't know. It's interesting. I don't know. It's I feel like we're seeing like just like almost I hate to say it like this, but it's almost like what's like left right now, you know? Like outside of like those
The
people.
dating pool.
Yeah,
we are
exactly.
we are we are 26. We still have a pretty large dating
Oh,
pool, but
we got plenty of time.
yeah,
There's
I
no
see what you're saying. I would love to ask my parents that question though. Of like what age did they like? Because this, like you said, this is the age people start getting married, and like Maybe it's just like a little more in our face now with social media and whatnot. But I would love to ask them, like, when did you guys start to first notice it? When were your first weddings of friends that you went to?
Mm.
When was the first time that you were a groomsman for one of your friends? Like, I would love to see and compare that age. I imagine if being both statisticians as we are, I would imagine that age. Well, it has actually. In fact, the average age of marriage has gone up. I would love to see that comparison though from our parents'
Like
generation to ours.
anecdotally, yeah.
Yeah. And I'd love to see our generation to the next too. I'd be very curious to see what that's like. I can't imagine it gets any better, but
Yeah,
there's gonna
imagine
be
like when your brother's getting, or your like younger brother or younger sisters are at that,
sure.
you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
like what will that world look like for them and when they're in their mid-20s, you know?
I hope a lot better, man. I hope a lot better. It's kind of wild. Like some of the interactions I've had on some of these apps too, are fucking crazy sometimes. Like, I don't know.
I'll have to
I don't
live
want
through
to
you,
like,
brother.
I don't want to get too personal into them. I don't use them now, and hopefully this doesn't fucking make the cut for the podcast. But I don't use the apps now. I've been off them for about, I don't know, 2-3 months. It's been awesome. But
Okay,
also, like we
nice.
talked about, like my focus has not been on prioritizing dating at all. Like
Sure.
grinding, grinding. But dude, there's some stories on there. Like we'll have to talk off camera. It's like yeah, no, can't say it. I don't know how to describe it in like in a good way, but that probably won't make it anyways.
That's like it seems, dude. Okay, so I'm not trying to be on my high horse or anything like that, but I just
Sure.
dating hasn't been like the priority for me. So just have never gotten onto any dating apps
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
like ever. But I have plenty of friends that are, and it just seems that like every friend that you talk to about this, there's always at least one story, one story of somebody being like really out there or
Yeah.
like really weird or really crazy or something that happens
Yeah.
that's like a socket to hinge. You know what I mean?
hundred
um
percent, man. 100
I don't think
percent.
you're alone there, but it does make you wonder. But
Yeah.
so I mean, I know we're kind of like looking retroactively, but like going forward, um like within being that we're 25, 26, right? It's like, where do you want to be at 30? And do you
Yeah.
have any specific goals? And I think it's okay if you don't have, um I really think age is a number at some level, you know what I mean? Where when
Sure.
we're at this range of being in our mid 20s, like where we're 30, it's like 30 is a big number because it's at that decade amount, but it's
Yeah.
not like, um I don't know, it's not like a I don't think there's a huge change of life per se. But anyways, I just want to ask you, do you have any goals over the next like 5 years and where you want to be, things you envision for yourself?
No, that's a no. I do. I've actually given a lot of thought because I've changed my thinking and thought process from thinking in weeks, months to trying to think in years and decades.
Mm.
Um, and thinking more long term. Like for instance, like starting the fitness account, or even trying to start the side hustle of trying to do some part-time work. Thinking, okay, say I do that for 5 years. What's the audience that I could make? Like not 3 months from now when it's still under 100 or whatever it is, but 5 years of like hard work doing this, what's it going to look like? Same thing for like the side hustle, of trying to just do some part-time work while also pressing the career. It's not necessarily like, oh, how much money can you make in the next 3 months? It's like, okay, well, if I dedicated 20 hours a week, or sorry, 20 hours a month on the side of my job, how much money could I save up in 5 years? Some of that. And so like kind of what goals and where I would like to see myself. I would love to see myself away from the 9 to 5. Uh, I would love to see me finally kind of doing my own thing, generating my own income, building my own business. I don't know what that looks like. I feel like I have this conversation with a lot of people, but I'm trying to figure it out. I hate having this conversation where people, I want to have my own business, but they don't actually have an idea. And I feel like that's where I'm at. But I'm testing a lot of things right now to see, where's the right fit. And a lot of it's just learning experience too.
Mm-hmm.
Um, on top of like where I would like my career financial well-being to be, 30 years old, man. I go back and forth. There was a time where I really wanted a house by 28. Like that was a goal, like a goal to house by 28, which I don't think is out of the question. I don't think it's an unfeasible goal. Definitely, maybe not in Venice, California, maybe not in San Diego, but I don't think it's like an unattainable goal. I just I might have switched that opinion. 5 years is a long time. As much as I would love to like be a homeowner, uh, having some type of real estate portfolio would be cool as well. Maybe not something that I'm living in, but like rental properties.
Mm-hmm.
Um, there's good investments you can make in places that maybe you would never want to live. And I think renting, while like I don't know, there's a stigma around renting as well, where people think your money's going down a drain. It's just being burned, like you're burning cash because you're not building towards some type of more, or you're not paying your mortgage, you're not building equity in your house, whatever it is. Yeah, but like it also gives you a lot of freedom. Like I work a completely remote job, and I don't really see me changing that in the next couple of years. And ideally, if I start my own business, it would allow me to have the freedom to be able to move around as well. And I do like that a lot. I love the freedom of being able to kind of just pick up and work wherever I want. And that changes with home ownership, or it changes with some type of ownership in general for real estate if you're living in it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, so to answer that, like wrap up that long thought there, I would love to have at least a real estate property um, somewhere. Um, I think there's a lot of potential opportunity maybe for me to look into college areas of where my siblings go, potentially. Let's see. Um, that would be cool. That's a goal that I would like to have by age 30. Some type of investment like that, significant investment there. Outside of that, man, like I mean, I would love to have a significant other by then. Like, as much as I hear all these stories of life changes when you turn 30 as a man, which I don't know if you've have older friends that have told you this. I've been hanging out with one of my mentors from the gym and a little older group, and they've kind of just like, you hit that mark where you're further in your career, you're making a ton of money, and you've kind of gone through all the life experience, and like just things start changing, um, and they kind of start like falling into place a little more. Um, I personally like my biggest thing I want in life is a family. Um, do I want
Mm-hmm.
it by 30? I don't think so. I would still love to travel. I would still love to have like the freedom, like I said, to like go and do things. But I would love to start building a life with the person I'm supposed to be with there. It's not like something you can just say like, if by 30 I don't have it, like I'm doing wrong, because like you said, it comes when it comes. It's just a timing thing. But those are like three big major ones thinking forward 5 years, right? Is
Mm-hmm.
career wise, move away from the 9 to 5. Think like the goal has changed from home ownership into more just real estate ownership in general. And
Sure.
then I,
Mm-hmm.
finally find someone that I would like to spend the rest of my life with.
Very nice.
Generate that love story that we hear about. And yeah, I want my own. So yeah, what about yourself?
Awesome, dude.
5 years from now, man, like 30. God, saying 30 out loud, it's kind of crazy.
I know
Five
it's
years.
closer to for me than you. Here, give me one second. I'm trying to
Yeah,
pull my
yeah,
phone.
yeah, you're good.
It's getting dark in here.
Yeah, I saw that.
Cut this.
Um,
Hold on, I
yes,
got what? Let's make sure we cut the messy background.
yeah. No, other thing too, I was starting to realize is we should, for future podcasts, ask each other questions very directly instead of trying to do like the weave. I feel like it would help for editing. It's just like,
Yeah,
for
I
instance,
agree.
if like, for instance, like this, like, where do you see yourself in 5 years be? Like 30 years old. Where do you see yourself?
Let's see. are we seeing where do I see myself or what goals to have or that kind of fall into
Let's go
or is
goals. Like
that
where do you want to be? Where do you want to be in five
okay?
years?
5 years. Honestly, dude, they line up a lot to what you're talking about too. Is
Mm-hmm.
in 5 years, I feel pretty like I feel ready to be in a relationship. Um, but I think in 5 years, so knowing that where I'm at right now, I think in 5 years, I think that it would be I would like to be at the point where I'm having like building a life with somebody, like how you said. I think that's a good way to put it. Is building that is the reaction to kill
Dude,
me.
it catches my hand like this.
So it's so funny. Um, but yeah, so I think building a life with a significant other would is definitely one of them. The other big one that I want for myself is to have some sort is to really be towards like my own business. I'm not sure how career wise like I'm not necessarily I've been in between right now where I am enjoying what I'm working on and like the things I'm working on, things I'm doing,
Yeah,
but I definitely want to get away from the 9 to 5 too. And so I want to have the like that business, but I do see a possibility of me being in a job if I do really enjoy it.
sure.
But we'll see. The goal would really be to like be have more like the time freedom and being able to do what I want to do when I want to do it, and then creating something that has value that I can provide like to others, and
Mm-hmm.
in the form that hopefully it can pay me back as a business. So
Mm-hmm.
I would say those are the two biggest things I see for myself at that age. Other than because I feel like 5 years is can be a long time, and who knows where you'll be living at, who knows the things you'll have or not.
Mm-hmm.
But when I take inventory, that's definitely those are the two biggest things I think I'd want to be at in those 5 years.
Nice. Yeah, 5 years is a long time to think.
Mhm.
It goes by fast though, man. Like shit, we 4 years. We're going on 5 years of being out of college. Uh,
It's true.
what's like one massive leap of like what's one massive risk that you hope to have taken by then?
One risk I hope to have taken by then.
Yeah,
Mm,
it's hard to say because like
it's hard to
it's hard.
say. I think
Yeah.
it's a hard. I think it's like there's a wide time frame in that, right? Um, but I think the biggest risk that has hindered me in my own life with certain things is just starting
Mm,
something. You know what I
yeah.
mean? And just
Mm-hmm.
take the risk of like you're going to be judged. You're going to be like for the
Mm-hmm.
social media thing, for instance, right? I think like part of what's held me back from just starting like a separate account is like
Mm-hmm.
is that you have to put yourself out there and you have to do it. And
Mm-hmm.
then it's like there's like a level of that. So I think so then to kind of go back to what I said by like what the where I see myself at 30 is like when it comes to the business, I think the biggest risk I'm gonna have to take is like going all into it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So at some point I'll be able to do both, right? For a while, I'm sure but then the biggest risk I can think of as of now would be to be like, okay, no, this is what we're gonna do and go
Mm-hmm.
for it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, I think that's because I think there is a comfort level in having a consistent salary at a job, right? That
Sure.
you and if it's a well-paying job too, it's like it gives you a lifestyle that you can live, um,
Yeah.
and being able to step away from that is like, okay, here we go, you
Yeah.
know. So,
100%.
what about you? What do you think? A risk that you're gonna have to take to get to where you want to go?
Yeah, I don't even know if it's to get to where I want to go. Um, I do want to take the risk of moving cities though. I love LA. It's great. I think it's a great fit for now. I don't. It's definitely not a fit for long term, in my opinion. And I've had those thoughts in the past of moving cities. I don't even know where I would want to move to. Um, it's hard to say. I've visited a couple places intentionally to try to test it out, but that's one risk I want to finally take. It's just up and go. It's hard because the longer and longer I take to do that, the more and more my roots grow here, and it's going to be harder to leave. But that's the blessing of a remote job, and yeah, I would like to take that risk one day of just changing scenery. It's not easy. I'm a very creature of habit. I love consistency. I love routine. I love what I know. I love trying new things. I love but my day to day, I like something consistent.
Absolutely.
So I think that would be a big risk for me. I don't think it's like major. I don't think it's gonna end. It's not gonna. I'm not gambling my life savings. I'm not doing stuff like that. It's more of getting me out of my comfort zone, which I hope I take by then.
Totally, dude. And you'll learn a ton from that. You'll learn a ton from like that process of going somewhere new. I think if it's something that you want to do, that's like you'll learn a bunch from it, and it'll be good.
Yeah, man. I think we've kind of killed it today. Going on an hour and a half.
Yeah,
a lot. I think we've touched a lot of bases here, man.
Totally. I think it's been a good first episode, and then like Tyler had said in the beginning, what we'll plan on going forward is to have guests on, and we'll be having some more conversations where we will be asking them these kind of questions, and then we'll all have a good conversation and rap about that. But I think this has been a great start of where we are and what we want to do with this podcast.
Sure, that's well said. And yeah, man, this is awesome. Pilot episode, hour and a half.
Yeah. Number one, baby.
Talking off the cuff, man. There's thank the Lord that we are only gonna have maybe 2 people listen to everything. Otherwise people are just gonna be seeing the clips that we won't share.
True.
But yeah, man, this is awesome. This is a good first episode, good pilot episode. I'm honestly really looking forward to see where we take this. Again, it's all the effort that we put in. That's the thing I love about it. It's we will get out of this exactly how much we put in. So if we let it slack off, if we let it die out, if we're not putting in the effort with maybe changing camera quality or changing the transitions of how we're formulating a conversation, it's just exactly how we analyze it and pivot. So I love it, man.
Absolutely.
This is good.
Absolutely. No, it's super exciting. And I've already, I'm sure we'll talk more offline, but I've already learned a bunch from this of how we're going to do this. And talking in front of a hot mic too.
It's hot, man. It's hot. All right. Well, brother, it was great talking to you today. And until next one.
You as well, man. Have a good one.
Later.